My son, what have ye done? I have to say it like that because the first time I ever heard the title was when Werner Herzog said to me that was the name of his new film. I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm making a horror movie with David Lynch. It's called My Son, what have you done? I can't not say it like that.
It would be very irritating, though, if you repeated that three times.
So it's Herzog directing, David Lynch producing. There was Herzog said this thing to me when we were doing this on stage. He said that he was outraged. He had come over about a year and a half ago when he was first doing this. He said there had been an article in the American press which he took exception to, in which it had described the two of them working together as the probably mad David Lynch and the certifiably mad Werner Herzog. And he was absolutely, he said, honestly, how dare they say this, the certifiably mad Werner Herzog, okay? So the story of My Son, what have ye done is Michael... Sorry, I'm going to have
What
to
have you done? It's quite straightforward.
Have ye done? Not you. What have ye done? It's not straightforward. My son, what have ye done?
It's a stupid title.
And Michael Shannon, at the beginning of the movie, has killed his mother, played by Grace Zabriskie. He then holds up in his house. Willem Dafoe turns up as the cop, trying to get him out of the house. Meanwhile, various people, Chloe Sevigny, who plays his fiancée, Udo Kier, who plays his drama teacher, turn up to explain in flashback how we got to the point where this thing has happened. As we discover in flashback, there has been a sort of Norman Bates-like relationship between child and mother. The mother is incredibly overbearing, attempts to force the child to eat Jell-O. The child himself has gone and explored his inner turmoil by going off and doing this Greek tragedy in which matricide is involved. He's become very affected by a sword. The whole thing has that Herzogian. I mean, I understand why
Herzogian.
Yes, I understand why Herzog was offended, but actually, if you saw My Son, what have ye done? You'd understand that actually saying that somebody in relation to it was slightly mad isn't completely out of the ballpark. I mean, the fact of the matter is, David Lynch apparently was very hands-off, but there are huge Lynchian elements all over it. It is Herzogian and Lynchian in the same way that...
how would you spot the difference between a Lynchian bit and a Herzogian
It's
bit?
interesting to try and distinguish them, isn't it? I think the Lynchian moment would be when they arrive at the strange house with the birds outside, and the Herzogian moment would be in which the guy explains to you why it is that they're on an ostrich farm. I think that's the difference between the two. One of them's visual, one of them's verbal. You have, in it, you have this central performance by Michael Shannon, which really holds the thing together. Michael Shannon is one of the maddest screen presences around at the moment. That's not to say he is mad.
That's three madnesses.
No, exactly. He has a really, really intense... actually, you look back at his, his career. We first saw him in Bug, in which he plays somebody who goes mad. He was in World Trade Center, in which he's the guy who gets mad. He was in Revolutionary Road, in which he's the guy who is mad. And now he's in this, in which he's the guy who becomes crazy, and then other people come in. He's so crazy that when Udo Kier comes in to explain how his craziness happened, Udo Kier is considered to be the sane one. He's the person who you put him next to Udo Kier, and actually his behaviour is okay. And you have this incredibly intense performance by Michael Shannon. You also have that classic Herzogian thing that at one point we go off and we hear Brad Dourif talking about ostriches. And Brad Dourif, who of course famously played Billy Bibbit in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and is known for playing crazy, and of course in Exorcist 3 plays Patient X, who of course is the incarcerated inmate and has done a good number of crazies in his time. The weird thing about it is, I don't think it's a great movie by any means. There are things... I would watch any Herzog movie. I'm even going to watch the Herzog 3D Cave movie, because if anyone's going to do something with 3D, then I'm very happy to see Herzog do it. It has that strange, disjointed, awkward quality which Herzog's movie have, and when you watch certain scenes, you think, is that bad or is it Herzogian? Particularly when Udo Kier is leading you into flashbacks, and Udo Kier is going, yes, well, it was very interesting because he came over to my drama class and then we were going to do the Greek tragedy. And I said, the Greek tragedy, which is about the killing of the mother. And he was very interested. I remember the time when he... And then suddenly we get back...
Sounds like a Camp SS officer that you were doing there.
It's Udo Kier. It's Udo Kier. It's, to know death, Otto. It's him. It's the guy from Flesh for Frankenstein. It's the guy who, in my book, I cast as Mr. Niet, because he's the most bonkers screen presence in the world. I think in the end...
What's your book called again?
It's called Simon Hasn't Read Me Yet.
No, the full title.
I'm not going to do that. In My Son, what have ye done? What you get is the Herzogian elements and the Lynchian elements and the strong performances. I don't think it adds up to very much in the end, but whilst it was there, I was diverted by it.